Hello, my name is Randy Dobson. I'm an instructor here in the Houston, Texas area. In this video, we'll be covering block attributes. Hopefully, you've already watched the videos on creating blocks uh, because they'd be kind of out of sort if you did them backwards. I would prefer that you watch the block videos first because I'll be going through that fairly quickly, assuming you know that. So, what block attributes are is that they are active text within a block. If I come over here and I do a text real quick and I put something in here, let's just say Texas, okay, and I come up here and I create a block. We'll just call it Texas. I'll make that my base point. There are my objects. Uh, I'll just retain it for now. I hit OK. So now when I go to insert that block, no matter how many times I insert it, as you know, it's not asking me anything. It's just saying, what is your insertion point? And there it is. It is what's called static, where it doesn't change. It's just text. It's part of the block, just like the lines are. Okay, with an attribute, what happens is, let me copy this over, is it makes it active in it to where you can change things without changing the block. We'll go with this circle here. I'm going to go to define attributes, and as you can see, it's going to have tag, prompt, and default. Here's your text settings. Here are some of the modes that it can go into. I try to go into these a little bit in another video, but I kind of want you to explore this because you can put information in these attributes about, say, a part number or part manufacturer that doesn't show up on your drawing, but it is still hidden inside of there, and it can be brought up on the table command. But I'm just going to type these so you can see what each one is. Here's tag, prompt, and default. Here I'm going to do justification. I'm going to put it in this circle, so I want it to be middle centered, so that way whenever the number grows or the length of it grows, it'll go from the center out, so it'll be spaced right. We'll just leave it at 0.2, and I would hit OK. Now this is one of the snags in the attribute. Is, if you remember, I picked middle center. Okay, and as you can see, where my cursor is at the bottom left. Okay, the problem is it will, when I select, if say I select the end of this line right here, it will put it like this, even though I'm selecting it like this. Watch, I'm going to type in end. See, it will snap to that, but unfortunately, what happens with a lot of people is, let me go back to that attribute, start that again, tag, prompt, default, is they try to do this. They try to eyeball it, thinking that's the center. Well, watch what happens when I click. See, it's actually over there. So that's just kind of one thing to remember whenever you're working with attributes. So I'm actually going to erase this. I'm sorry, I've got to do that one more time. So we've got tag, prompt, and default. And we'll go to middle center. And we'll make it a little bit bigger. Let's make it 0.5. And I'm going to type in center because I want it to be at that center, and there we have it. Okay, so I'm going to make a block. I'm going to create a block, and we're just going to call this manhole. I'm going to pick the point. I'm going to use the center of the circle as my insertion point. Select all my objects, the arc, I'm sorry, the circle and the attribute, and I'm going to, I'll just retain it. So I'm going to hit OK. So now watch when I insert this manhole. As you can see, the default is if I don't put anything into it. The information, watch when I select right here saying insertion point, see where it says prompt, that's where I typed in prompt. So you can give yourself, you can give it a question or something. I'm just going to say manhole number 3. I hit OK, and there it is. Now I can come over here and insert that again and give it manhole number 5. Okay, now I can do this and it remains the same block. I'm going to double click on it. Actually, I don't want to double click on it. I'm going to do B edit, which is block edit. We're going to go to manhole, hit OK, and I'm going to edit this block. I'm going to leave the tag alone, but let's put in, let's say a polygon. Give it 5 sides. We'll make the center of it the center of this circle, and inscribed, and we'll just do it something like that. Now I'm going to erase the circle. Close the block editor, hit save changes, and as you can see, I should have made it a little bit bigger, but I changed the block line work, but all the text will be still the same. That attribute will still be there. Now, if for some reason you explode this block, well, what you get is the tag. Okay, so when you look over at the attributes, you've got 3 things: tag, prompt, and default. Tag is what will come up if you explode it. Default is what will go there if you don't put anything in it. And then prompt is where you can ask it a question. So I'm going to go tag. I'm just going to say, I'm just going to give it X's. And prompt, I'm going to say put manhole number here, use 2 digits. And default, I'm just going to put just a bunch of zeros, and I'm going to middle center it again, and let's go OK. I'm going to put it the center of this circle here. Let's go ahead and get rid of tag out of this one. So now I'm going to create another block, and I'm going to call it manhole. I'll just call it MH. I'm going to go center, select my objects, and it's already got a name, so I hit that. Now when I go to insert, here's manhole. Okay, if I just click on it and hit OK, then all those zeros come in there. So that's kind of a warning to you. That's why you want to put something there that doesn't look like it could be an answer or something that can be filled out correctly. So I'm going to go to insert again, and I'm going to select here, hit enter. Oops, let me try that again. Insert manhole. I'm going to select here, and now you notice here's my comment. If I need to expand this box to get my whole thing, it says put manhole number here, use 2 digits. So if it was 9, I would put 09. I would hit OK, and there's my manhole number. Okay, actually I should have put in manhole like that, but it allows you to come back. See, I can come back and edit these if I wanted to. If I wanted to make this 7, I could make it 7. Again, it doesn't mess with the block in itself. Another thing, if you ever explode a block with an attribute, this right here is still an attribute. You cannot use it as text. There's newer versions of Autocad that will allow you to convert that, but see here, when I open it up, it's telling me it's still got a tag, manhole, then my prompt, which is the question, and here's the default. And this is just one thing that goes into your block. Remember, it needs to be on layer 0 to be done correctly. But whenever you place this, you want to make sure that you place it correctly, because If I come over here and say define attribute, and I say 000 up here, and let's see, put number here, and I'll just give this X's. If I left this as left, and then say I put it like that, okay, and let me just change this back. I'll just say 00. So now, if I put anything there, 1, 2, 3, 4, see, it's not going to be centered. What if it's just 23? So you have to make sure of your justification, just the same if you were doing one in a box, you'd want it to be middle center, which would be right here. If you do it left or right, then it will increase, and it won't increase correctly. Just like here, if I took and just called it 09, you can see it still stays in the center. Or here, if I just take out the number symbol, it stays nice and centered. Where here, if they say make it, number 23, it's not going to be centered. So it's a great little thing. It's active text within a block, and very useful. And that concludes my video on block attributes.